Hey, what's up guys, it's Kevin. Just making a quick video. I've been wanting to do this for a while. I finally got the opportunity to actually do it. I got a better camera. I got a Fuji film, cool pic. I don't know what the hell it is, but it's pretty good. Anyway, been wanting to do a head gasket, how to install a head gasket on a Honda Civic. And honestly, over the past year, I've probably done anywhere from 30 to 35 head gaskets. So I've learned a lot of shortcuts and quicker ways to do it. Now, the quicker way is not always the better way. Every head gasket I've done, I never had an issue out of. So, you know, if you try it my way, I'm going to show you my way. If you wound up fucking your car up, it's not my responsibility. This is just how I do it, and I'm just trying to give you a little bit of insight on how easy it is to do a head gasket. Now, the first thing you want to do, and anyway, this is a 98 Honda Civic. It's got 108,000 miles on it, and it loses water, but it doesn't leak water. I narrowed it down that the coolant fan was not coming on, and if you pull the stick out, it doesn't have oil in the water, but if you pull the cap off, and I'm not sure if you can actually see this, there is condensation in there. So, you know, I was like, what the hell, I'll go ahead and do it. I'll be able to make a video, maybe help some people out. So what you're going to need to do this is very simple hand tools. The only specialty tool you're going to need is your torque wrench, and I've got the click type torque wrench. Of course, your head gasket. Now, I don't get the whole head set because the whole head set is like 120 bucks. Most of the stuff you're not going to need it. So there's no point in buying it. The exhaust manifold gasket is metal. In most cases you can reuse it, and the intake manifold gasket, it's kind of hit or miss. You can take it off, it won't damage it at all, and then other times you'll take it off and it will. But if you damage the intake manifold gasket, you know, it's like 13 bucks. You go to AutoZone, pick it up, not a big deal. Anyway, of course, the part number for the head gasket is 9non15PT, and this is a Felpro multi-layer metal head gasket, $35.99 from AutoZone. This is the only head gasket that I've used and never had an issue with any of them. Of course, your torque wrench, you're going to need just a regular size socket. You're going to need a 12 millimeter. You're going to need a 14 millimeter. And a 10 millimeter. Now, if you know about Civics, you know 10, 12, 14 is basically every nut on the car besides some 17-inch, but I mean 17 millimeter, but you know, that's a different thing. You need a couple extensions, some pliers, some Marlboro 72s, some Red Bull, and this copper spray. Now, this runs you about $6, but it does help. Of course, you're going to spray down the head gasket once you get the block and your head clean, and this is going to gap up any kind of minor imperfections, and it does help it seal. Always use that, so you definitely want to use that. You want to have a little box to put your screws in. I already took one screw off. I've never edited a video, so it might be choppy, but I'm going to try to get everything you need to do in the video. And if you have any other questions, of course, you can you know, hit me up. The first thing you want to do is you want to work on this side of the motor. Now, some Civics don't have power steering. This one did have power steering on it, so you've got two bolts to take your power steering pump off. This bolt on the top, and then you got one bolt which I already took off. It is right here. It's kind of like a slaughter bolt. So yeah, that's the first thing you want to do, is take those two bolts off. You want to push your power steering pump down and take off the belt just like that. Once you get your belt off, you're going to pull this up and just go ahead and pull your power steering pump out of the way. You can see right here, just pull it up out of the way. You might want to use a zip tie to tie it off here. Once you get your power steering pump off, the next thing you want to do is go ahead and take off your valve cover gasket. Now, your valve cover gasket is 10 millimeter bolts. You got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You want to take this little clamp off and pull this hose off, and you want to pull the spark plug wires out. Now, and I'll get to this a little bit later, but you don't need to have your you're not the way that I do this is you really won't have to mess with your timing at all. As long as the car doesn't move while you're doing this, you're not going to have to worry about adjusting timing or anything like that. So I'm going to pull the valve cover off, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so now we got your valve cover off. That's over here to the side. Now if you have if you see oil down through here, that's more than likely your valve cover gasket is bad. You want to go ahead and buy a valve cover gasket. This one is actually pretty good, so that's fine. So as of right now, what we've done is we've taken the power steering belt off and the 2 bolts out of the power steering pump. We've lifted it up out of the way. Took the spark plug wires out and laid them over here to the side. Valve cover off the car. So the next thing you want to do, and it's going to be kind of hard to see, but let me get a little light. The bracket here that your valve cover was at, your power steering pump was connected to, you want to take that out. And the way that you take that out is there are, right here on this side, there's 1, 2, 3. You got 1 up top, and you got 2 down here at the bottom. There's 3 14mm bolts. You want to take those bolts out, and you want to pull this off. It's just a metal bracket. Just pull it off, put your bolt somewhere, lay it to the side. Alrighty, so we've taken the 3 bolts out of the power steering mount. That's going to come right off. It's going to look like this right here. Got 1, 2, 3. And like I said, those are 14mm. You just want to lay this aside. Next thing you want to do is you want to go ahead and start taking the heat shield off the exhaust. Now, on this one, there's only 2 12mm bolts. And remember that the exhaust manifold goes from hot to cold, so sometimes these things are just basically fused in there, and they do have a tendency to break off once you put some torque on there trying to get them. So just, if you want to, you can spray some penetrating oil, let it set. Hopefully that'll help, but it doesn't most of the time. So what we want to do is remove this. Also, we want to come over here to the upper radiator holes. You want to slide this clamp back and pull this off of the head itself, and just wrap it around and tuck it back in here somewhere. So we're going to do that, and we'll go from there. Alrighty, so what we did was we pulled the upper radiator holes off. We tucked it over to the side. We took the 2 bolts out of here. Now, one thing that you will have to do, you got a O2 sensor there. You will have to unplug it because when you pull this off of here, the plug needs to come out of the hole here. So once you get that out, you can just lay this over to the side with your little thing here. Alright, so what we're going to do right now is, I haven't actually checked this, but some of the exhaust manifolds on the Civics, they have the manifolds, they'll go down into the exhaust pipe, and then on the very back side of the engine here, there's a mount or a little arm that comes up from the manifold and bolts onto the block. Some of them have it, some of them don't have it. So I haven't checked this one yet, but right now all we want to do is go ahead and remove all your bolts from your exhaust manifold. And also there is a bolt, if you can see it down there at the bottom, that looks like a 14mm bolt down there that goes to the exhaust right there. So you want to remove that bolt also. If you don't have a mount at the back, like some of them do, this manifold should actually just pull off of there and you can drop it down. If you're wondering what the fuck all that noise is, when I'm down here working on cars, either I'm listening to music or I'll put on Boogie 2988. He's fucking hilarious, his Francis videos. I'll just sit here and listen to him, or do listen to him give game reviews and stuff like that. So that's what all that noise is. So right now we're going to take all the bolts out of the manifold, and then that 1 14mm bolt down there, and then we'll start up from there.